semifinals, and Antron Brown, that may be the final nail in the coffin of a championship. Into third after a calamitous end 2 weeks ago that had forced him into a brand new race car and his team to the verge of exhaustion. Langdon's 45 on the tree and a huge explosion of the tire for Tony. This sport that we all love is ruthless, and we're going to see that today. We're going to see people experience the highest of highs, and we'll see seasons end with abruptness. But to me, the two words that come down to who's going to win these titles: flawless execution.
Well, it all starts with such a classic story in pro stock. You have two young, highly talented, ambitious drivers trying to get their first championship. They're trying to hold off one of the greatest comebacks that we could see in pro stock by a multi-time older veteran in that category. But there's no question, all the focus is going to be on the top fuel, the shootout. Not 3, but 5. And we've been focusing so much on the drivers. And one thing that's going to change when you talk about those finely tuned details, it's going to fall on the shoulders of not just the drivers, not just how quick their reflexes are off the starting line and their car control. It's going to fall on the shoulders of the tuners, because that slight increase in temperature is going to give 1 or 2 of those top fuel drivers a chance that we didn't think they might have coming into competition.
We look at these top fuel points, we can see that Justin Ashley now leads Sean Langdon by 43 points. It is 46 points back for Antron Brown, and Doug Coletta lingering at 78 points back. Coletta is on the opposite side of the ladder of those other 3 drivers. Ashley will have to face Antron Brown in the first round and may have to face off against Langdon in round 2 if he wins his first round matchup. Here at these finals, it is points and a half. A maximum number of 191 can be earned, and it changes the complexion of the whole game, because when we look at the bottom of this graphic, we can see that it is 30 points per round, meaning that in under other circumstances, a guy like Doug Coletta, but with 30 points, Steve Torrance. We cannot overstate the size. It begins with this one, Antron Brown and Justin Ashley. Other in qualifying, and Antron does not want to see the same results.
No, strategy is going to completely. We talked about the conditions; they were cooler. The track temperature was better, and of course, Justin Ashley was able to take advantage of that. And take a look from this onboard, and you can see how Justin Ashley pulls ahead, because he is 5 miles an hour faster at the eighth of a mile.
For Justin Ashley and the Skag Top Fuel team, they lined up once again next to Antron Brown. Brown tried to push the performance of his car and smoke the tires. Meanwhile, Justin Ashley smoked down this drag strip and laid up a 367, his best run of the weekend, picking up 6 positions to land number 3. You can see the focus in his eyes as he hits the throttle in this beautiful slow motion shot as the sun was setting in Southern California. The bottom left-hand corner of this ladder is the most fascinating thing. 3 of the 4 points leaders are all wadded up right there.
Well, right there, a lot is going to shake down, but don't disregard the other side of the ladder. You saw Steve Torrance and Doug Coletta, last year's defending champion. That's still, while these guys duke it out on the left side of the ladder, these 2 drivers can't sneak into the final and challenge for that championship.
Justin Ashley, the best leaver in the category, and the points leader is with Amanda Busick.
It is the biggest matchup of the season for Justin Ashley and Antron Brown, and everyone is talking about it here this morning in Pomona. And Justin, when I saw you at the top end yesterday, you weren't sure if you were going to sleep last night or not, but what will give you the edge against your mentor, Antron Brown, today?
Well, I think it's going to be a close race. Every time we line up, it seems to be a close race, but I think it comes back to team. You know, I have a lot driver and his team. They do an amazing job, but this is the team I want to go to battle with. Our Skag Power Equipment Toyota team works tirelessly day in and day out, and they put in the hard work. So now it's time to enjoy the moment, go out there, put our best foot forward, and we certainly hope to come out with a championship, but moment, put our best foot forward, and I have a sneaky suspicion it's going to be a good show for the fans.
Well, Bruno, Justin told me this morning that Antron was the guy he wanted to beat when he was a little guy, and now he has the opportunity.
Well, Amanda, now he's got the opportunity. Sometimes you have to be careful what you wish for, because Antron Brown, a 3-time world champ, is definitely no joke. Of this round 1 matchup on Justin Ashley, how do you see it playing out?
Hey, this right here is the championship decider. So to get this championship, it's got to go through that team. They're in the points lead, and down, do what we do. And if we want to win a championship, this is the round to do it in.
And of course, the here as we look at this week's That's a Repair for Pep Boys. It takes us 2 weeks back to Las Vegas in this absolutely horrendous end of the day for Sean Langdon, who had just defeated Justin Ashley the round before. His car got up to the center line, hit one of the timing blocks, which destroyed a tire, negated the run, and ruined the chassis.
And you can see the black track, the tire print that it leaves behind it. The black tracking term means that that car was spinning the rear tires more than usual, and that allowed the car to push to the inside. Sean made the correction. It continued to push in, make his second move, and you can see the emotional aspect of what drivers go through knowing that he lost a big opportunity.
The team then summoned the work ethic of team owner Connie Coletta and went absolutely ham. They put the car in a trailer and drove it straight back to Indianapolis. Precision build rate on Tuesday, and
The back thoughts together, their experience together along with the track specialists, and not only made the right decision, but quite the impressive run from this team.
Jordan Vandegrift is with a potential man of destiny, Sean Langdon.
From Las Vegas to Pomona, a lot has happened for Sean Langdon. And Sean, today is the day. Everything is in front of you. What is going through your head right now?
Well, yeah, like I said, a lot's been going on. So obviously today's the day. The way we look at it, we got to get to the final round. If we can get to the final round, the ladder kind of played into our favor a little bit. So regardless of the outcome, I'm just proud of my team, the whole Coletta Air Toyota team. Man, these guys have worked so hard in these last couple weeks, overcome adversity, give me a great race car, qualified well. So regardless of the outcome, I consider my team champion, but hopefully we can get that championship and get that #1 on the car at the end of the day.
Those are the words that Sean Langdon will live by today in his Top Fuel Dragster.
These are the quickest and fastest accelerating piston-driven machines you will find anywhere. 11,000 pounds of torque will allow the 25-foot chassis to transfer onto 17.5-inch wide Goodyear slicks that will grip and move to the 8th mile at speeds of 300 miles per hour, an enclosed driver compartment design that features a ballistic windshield not intended to improve aerodynamics, only to better protect the driver. Open style driver area, both reach speeds in excess of 330 miles per hour.
And for all but one driver in this category, that small cockpit will feel like the loneliest place in the world. Now we go to our Lucas Oil starting lineup for round #1. Sean Reed and Jasmine Salinas. Salinas concluding her rookie season of Top Fuel Drag Racing, and Sean Reed with a very strong running automobile. For Justin Ashley and Antron Brown, the single biggest run of their season, and for Ashley, perhaps the single biggest run of his career in the first round against a former idol of his. Doug Coletta and Ida Zetterstrom will come up next. Remember, Doug Coletta is still in this championship chase. Brittany Force and Krista Baldwin. Force, the winner in Las Vegas and the driver of the quickest Top Fuel machine on the property, will try to make a massive disruption to the rest of the field. Steve Torrance will race his former boss in the first round as the 6 pair out. Pritchett making his professional debut in Top Fuel Eliminator. Sean Langdon and Josh Hart, 2 of the most statistically strong levers in Top Fuel drag racing, will have to square up. If Langdon advances, it could be a matchup against Justin Ashley in round 2. Tony Stewart, who before 9 a.m. this morning, will take on Billy Torrance. Billy Torrance, well, we know he's got a son, and now we know Tony Stewart's got one too. Tony Schumacher and Clay Millican, the 8 and 9 qualifiers. Millican is still an outside chance, but a chance nonetheless for a championship. And the cars are fired for the final time in 2024 Top Fuel Eliminator round #1. It is Millican and it is Schumacher. For Clay Millican, the high water mark of the season, of course, came at the Toyota U.S. Nationals when he won that race for the first time. It was an emotional moment for his team as they backed their way up. And, you know, Tony, for Schumacher down at Maple Grove early in this countdown, we'd be talking about him as a real factor in this chase.
Well, they picked up on some mechanical issues that they were having just too late. There are no second chances for Tony Schumacher. He's just one of those unknown quantities. He can jump up, he can perform at any time. Clay Millican knows that, but this matchup here is going to be very compelling because Clay, a lot of similarities with the Schumacher team in terms of performance. If they can both hit their marks, it just seems like Clay could potentially have the slight competitive edge.
They qualified within 6,000ths of each other. Their average elimination run is within a tenth. Their average reaction time is within hundredths. They are a pick-em through and through. The 8-9 qualifiers lead us off here at the NHRA Finals. Little tire chatter for Milliken as they get to the finish line stripe. The win light is on for Clay Milliken. 365.4 at just shy of 337 miles an hour. A jackhammering run to start us out.
That's exactly what we're talking about. This is what makes Clay Milliken such a big threat. Yet when you open up the box and you can just see the stages of clutch come in for Clay Milliken, and that accelerates him every increment. He is able to pull away from Tony Schumacher, who made a very respectable run. However, for Clay Milliken, reading the conditions, knowing that they could have had more performance tendency to do is it erases any questions about the track surface. It is a degree or two warmer than what they saw in qualifying. However, they are not going to concern themselves with the amount of grip on the surface.
A great side-by-side matchup and a huge explosion at the finish line, but it's Jasmine on a hole shot. 369.1 exploding the engine beats a 367.9 at 330 miles an hour. But boy, oh boy, for 330 miles an hour. But boy, oh boy, for Jasmine Salinas on this final weekend of her rookie season, that's a big one.
Oh, what a big way for her.
9 at 330-mile RA Finals is sponsored by Mission Foods. Now that's too fast, too tasty. And by In-N-Out.
Wanted to come down to the last race. They want their destiny in their own hands, and for Antron Brown and Justin Ashley, they have exactly that.
Every crewman behind these cars from these other teams is paying attention to what's going on. You've been a guy sitting in a car, Tony. We'll get to this in a second. Let's talk more about Antron Brown with Jordan Vandergriff.
I walked into Antron Brown's trailer this morning and talked to him about this round, and I caught him working on the practice tree. I didn't say anything. I walked straight up to him and watched him hit it 5 times. I walked straight up to him and watched him hit it 5 times. Out of the 5 lights, he hit no worse than a 36, guys. He's on it
here. The reaction time advantage that he has carried with him throughout the assailed by only a few. Sean Langdon being one of them. Let's see what Antron can do with him here. They're speeding down the racetrack. Finish line stripe. The win light comes on for Antron Brown. 369.6. It is the first run the car has made in the 360s the entire countdown, and it came at the very moment it had to happen.
Well, both drivers were exceptionally good. These drivers operate at a high frequency. For Antron Brown, the slightest starting line advantage, almost identical at 330 feet, but this was about Antron Brown, the right decisions, the decisions that took place from their last qualifying effort that broke the tires loose to this matchup with Justin Ashley, understanding what they had to do. They had to not only match his performance, but they stepped up to the plate. It appears that everything the tuner did to this machine, it responded.
Incredible. 369.6 beats a 3704. A 43 to a 45 light. We've said it so many times, but this is what professional, high-level drag racing should look like. The emotions, and there goes the wind completely out of the sails of Justin Ashley's team. Wow.
Well, it comes down to one race. Look, and this is what the countdown does. You know, professional teams, they experience this in the playoffs. There's only one that is going to come out as a champion. There are 7 or 8 in contention. It's going to be narrowed down to take Justin out of the championship, but he's going to need a lot of help.
Another guy that may be buoyed by this change of events here as we look down from the Pep Boys drone is Doug Coletta, whose opportunity to win a second back-to-back championship, which seemed to be fading, now seems to have brightened up again. He's going to have to deal with Ida Zennerstrom, but this Mac Tools top fueler has been running on mean all weekend long.
It's really the best-case scenario for Doug Coletta. He has, and he's on the opposite side of the ladder of the top 3 in points, so he's hoping that these guys can take one another.
The speed of 336 miles an hour. Tony, this car's been a handful at the top end for the last 2 runs.
Well, look, the harder they run, the more difficult for the drivers. to handle the car. Take a look at the car, the acceleration. There's the move to the inside, and for Doug Coletta, he was not going to get off that throttle. A little eerie, like what happened to Sean Langdon, but for Ida, instantly a misfiring cylinder. The car didn't have the clutch wear, didn't have the wheel speed, but Doug Coletta trying to hang on for this win, and does just that.
The emotional center point of this track is the top end of the racetrack. Let's go there now.
Antron, we've been watching you taking in this moment, and you said, what a race, what a race. Your first run in the 60s in this countdown. Where did you guys pull that from?
Run and to race Justin first round, I mean, to shape it up this way, I mean, I was cheering for the kid to get the championship. I ain't gonna lie to you. I mean, seeing him growing up, and Mike Green, all them guys doing a great job. Our Macco Tools Lucas Oil Toyota team, we've been just working so hard. And man, we wanted to qualify better and do a better job. But the thing about it is that was a tough first round right there, and that's what you gotta do to win. He took us out in Dallas first round, so it was good to get past that round. But it's not done. The job's not done over, and we gotta keep our heads down and keep it to the ground and keep on marching forward right now, Amanda.
Justin called you his mentor this morning, Antron, and big hugs for Justin Ashley at the top end from your team, from all of our officials over here. It's not over yet, Justin. How do you digest it now?
It's tough. I mean, this sport's very humbling. But look, that's life. We're going to bounce back. We knew nothing was going to be handed to us. If we wanted to win the championship, we were going to have to take it. We are definitely still in it. Kudos to Antron and his team, and they just did a better job than we did that time. But I don't want this one race to be a reflection on the season as a whole, because I think our whole Skag Power Equipment Toyota team worked tirelessly just to be in this position. We'll see. We're still hanging in. If it's meant to be, it'll be. But these guys, man, they deserve it. They work incredibly hard. So we'll bounce back.
And so now it is time for Brittany Force, the Monster Energy Top Fuel Dragster, which has seemingly come from the depths of despair, and its performance malaise has busted out strong over the last couple of races, specifically in Las Vegas. Her first win since the 2022 season, and it wasn't a win that they backed into. It was a win that they and she will look across and see the Zurn LK Top Fuel Dragster of Krista Baldwin.
Well, for Brittany Force, this team and her as a driver, they have weathered this storm, and she still finds herself a long shot, but very well in the chase.
A two-time world champion she is on the left-hand side. Baldwin, the underdog, with family roots at this drag strip. And Krista Baldwin, give her all she can handle until the end of the racetrack. 369.7 beats a 382.2 for Baldwin. The car was off early, shut out of 273 of the speed. But how about Brittany again, 369.7?
Well, a nice little shot from Krista right off of the starting line, and that put her in the race up until about 660 feet. And you can see this clear starting line advantage, but this is where power takes over for this machine, as it has done to so many cars over the last couple of races. For Brittany Force, advancing into the second round, a good booming top-end speed of 335 miles per hour.
It has been now a parade of 360 runs for the first round winners in Top Fuel. Nobody has won in the 70s yet, and they likely won't. When we come back, Sean Langdon's coming up. And we are back. In-N-Out Burger drag strip here at the In-N-Out Burger NHRA Finals. That is Gary Pritchett making Golden team.
Pritchett and now racing in Top Fuel, a lifelong dream coming together for this man right here. And Gary, boy, did you shine out here in qualifying, laying a 62 in reaction time. Why should a driver not want you on Sunday?
Just because we're kind of playing a spoiler alert, you know. We've obviously been out here a long time. We know the mechanics of the car. We know the driving of the car, and, you know, we're learning the interview part of it. But we don't really have nothing to lose. So for us, the pressure's really not there. We're just out here having the car, and, you know, we're learning the interview part of it. But we don't really have nothing to lose. So for us, the pressure's really not out here having a good time and doing the best we can and going from there. So I think I would be worried if we were racing us too.
Here.
The best part about it, I said in my top interview, was we got to race Scott Palmer. So for me, it was a comfort zone of feeling like we were just putting on another match race, and we weren't at a big national event going through Q1. So.
And real quick, for all the fans watching and getting to know Gary Pritchett in this build a team, why should they root for Gary?
They should root for Gary because we're living the dream. We're doing what every crew guy out here would love to do, be able to drive one of these cars, and we're doing it.
You see the Bunny and the boys on the side honoring Bunny Burkett, Cecil County Dragway, and Jim Halsey supporting the effort as well. He looks over and sees his former boss and team owner, Steve Torrance. Pritchett was a part of all those championship years at Capco, and he's trying to stop one from potentially happening right here. Steve smokes the tires. Gary Pritchett's going to win his first round against Steve Torrance. You have got to be kidding me. An incredible circular set of events here. 371 career best.
Well, Steve Torrance, instant tire smoke, but for Gary Pritchett, he's something that he had done in competition in the car that he came from. It was a slower car, injected nitro, the top alcohol dragster category, but he has shown signs of being very quick off the starting line. And the performance of Gary Pritchett, when you have a good car and you show some level of consistency, your opponent, regardless of how powerful this team is, they cannot lay up. So for Steve Torrance, just too much power, too much clutch. You can see him opening the throttle blades in pursuit, but no issues for Gary Pritchett.
Gary used to be a clutch guy. Today, Gary is the clutch guy. Let's go to the top end.
We're doing some points calculations up here at the top end, but I'm not going to be the mathematician today. But Brittany, you feel like you still have the chance at this thing. How does that change the mindset of how you attack it?
We're definitely still on it, but we're attacking it the same way. Doesn't matter if you're out in front, if you're way behind chasing, but we still have a shot at it. You know, that win in Vegas was huge for us. We qualified one. We picked up a ton of bonus points. Things just have to fall the right way, and we have to go all the way through to the finish line, to the final round to make this thing work. So this Monster Energy team, very proud of all these guys, and we'll keep on fighting till the end of the day.
You got to keep the sword swinging. He is going to try to do in that Monster Energy top fueler. Here comes Josh Hart, and this, Sean Langdon.
So charter increased not quite 10 degrees. They pulled the car back, and it cost him dearly. That's something that Sean Langdon, in this scenario, cannot afford to do.
We look inside the race car. For Langdon, he's begun to see a potential path clear for himself. If he gets around Hart, it will be a head-to-head confrontation with Antron Brown in the second round. But we cannot write this car off. Josh Hart has begun to bring on some help. It'll be announced in the next couple of weeks, but there is already a very set of experienced hands, Tony, that's been working on this car behind the scenes, and we've begun to see a little performance pickup here.
A 375 and a 372, that shows some level of good performance with consistency.
They're clean, they're mean, they're fast, and Hart explodes an engine for Sean Langdon to win the first round. He goes 369. Antron Brown's waiting.
Well, very poised off the starting line for Sean Langdon. An 053, a slight jump ahead of Josh Hart, but Josh Hart, like a lot of these cars in competition because of the good conditions, put up a good fight, a 373, but a 369 with the zero is on the mark of what this car was doing during qualifying. They knew they had a tough opponent. They didn't back it off. They let the driver do his thing, and they're in the second round for that.
Amanda's with Gary Pritchett.
And Gary, we just saw in your building a team that this has been such a dream for you to be here this weekend, and you get the first round win of your career. How's it living this dream now?
You're literally living every second of it. I mean, to do it against those guys, that's family over there. I got Capco on my fire suit, but none of this would be possible without the guys on the side of my car. You know, Spell Paving, J&A Services, Knapp Brothers, Cecil County Dragway, all those guys I really got to thank. And like I said before, I was a crew guy once before, and I'm out here with a chain.
Congratulations to Gary Pritchett. We did talk to Steve Torrance just a little bit prior, and he's up for this interview as we go chase down the four-time champion. And Steve, this will be the conclusion of your career. Gary Pritchett just said it was magical to be able to get that. How will you summarize the season for yourself, Steve?
Oh, this season, we did our job. We ran good through qualifying. That just caps off the way the season's been. I mean, we hadn't had the breaks that we needed at the Pritchett to come out here and race and have been part of my team for so long, and we won championships together. To see him doing well, he's done really well in alcohol. He's a force to be contended with, and I'm proud to see that. And
the NHRA, congratulations to Tony, Leah, and their entire family. And we were wondering if he was going to come back and race. Well, we tracked his jet. Guess what? It landed at Bracken Field this morning just before 9 a.m. He hopped into a car, sped across the street into the pit area, and this is Tony's jet coming in at 8:45 a.m. Made this nice clean entry into the airport. You can see the TSR on the tail of the jet. Touchdown across the street. He was greeted by his entire team when he came in. And Tony Stewart, after a night of perhaps little sleep, is ready to try to shine some shoes here against Billy Torrance.
Well, what he's coming back to is one of the most competitive cars that he's had over the latter part of the season. Starting this first round in the top half of the field.
It is, if not the single best car, one of the best cars to qualifying. And now without a worry in the world, so to speak, with the most major of his family concerns handled, he can race with a very shoot he can do next to Billy Torrance. Pretty awesome. Put the black stripe through Tony Stewart. He's racing another dad, a very notable dad through Tony Stewart. Scribble dad on that red tape. He's racing another dad, a very notable through Tony Stewart. Scribble dad on that red tape. He's racing another dad, a notable dad.
Proud dad was showing me photos of his new son, and he told me the only question he had was the amount of sleep he got. He said he got about 2 hours, but he said in the old NASCAR days, we used to laugh and say, you need an hour of sleep for 100 miles of racing. He said, well, I only have to go less than a mile, so I should be good.
This is a great run for Tony Stewart. You can see this car appears to be burning a valve. However, it doesn't seem like it affected the performance of the car until it got to the finish line. Now, right before these cars left the starting line, if you have a good ear, one of these drivers cracked the throttle. That means their foot started to go down. They were very fortunate. They were able to catch it. Take a listen. It looked like that was Billy Torrance. He allowed his car to roll, and that is probably when he gave the throttle just a kiss. He was able to reset and fortunately even get himself off the line. However, it was the horsepower from Tony Stewart that consumed that up within 200 feet.
After a breathless first round of Top Fuel Eliminator, we are left with 8 cars. And look at this, 5 of them are still capable of winning a world championship. 4 of them have to race each other. It is going to be something else. Pritchett, Stewart, how about that? That's another family wrinkle we can talk about when we come back. The Nitro Funny Cars will be up. And Smoke, congratulations on becoming a dad.
Welcome to the club.
American.
The Napa Pit Cam showing Ron Capps, Dean Antonelli, and crew warming up their funny car on Sunday morning at these In-N-Out Burger NHRA Finals. The culmination of a season, Tony, and the funny cars who put on a heck of a show.
Funny cars have a 10-foot wheelbase that will harness over 11,000 horsepower generated from an all-aluminum 8-cylinder engine that is nearly identical to its Top Fuel cousin with nitromethane for fuel, supercharged, 2 spark plugs per cylinder needed to burn the massive amount of fuel that is delivered via a fuel pump with a 115 gallon per minute output. Carbon Kevlar is the lightweight, high-strength material used for the aerodynamic body design and manufactured by General Motors, Dodge, Toyota, or Ford.
They are wild machines, and sometimes they seem unable to be tamed, but boy, this young man, brother along their crew, have certainly put a leash on theirs.
Well, they have it all. They have a young talent that is fearless, that comes with a lot of race experience and very well prepared for this moment, and they have the chemistry and the car's performance. They seem to have it all.
Just when you think it couldn't get any better for Austin Brock and the Cornwell Quality Tools team, they showed up here to make a point. And the point was that they were not going to just waltz through this finals. The quickest run in 7 years, Tony.
Well, and it's so fitting that it happened at this race under these circumstances, and this is the kind of performance that has put them in this situation, allowing them to get this championship dialed in.
Wearing the Auto Club colors primarily this weekend, Austin Brock is the 2024 NHRA Mission Foods Drag Racing Series Funny Car Champion, and he's done so in such magnificent fashion. This is what Austin had to say upon clinching the title.
And the celebrations are up here underway for Austin Brock as your 2024 Funny Car Champion. He walked down with that #1 qualifier hat. That will be exchanged with that white mission hat that signifies the world champion given by the NHRA's Glenn Cromwell. The medal presentation by Ned Walliser. Austin, you told me earlier today that this moment was not real until you saw that thing right there. I want to just go back over your season. In January, it was announced that you would race in the funny car affectionately known as the Proc Rocket, tuned by your father. At Epping earlier this season, John Force, in a top-end interview, publicly stated that he personally selected you. 8 wins, another yet #1 qualifier, and a funny car championship in your rookie season. How did you so seamlessly find your home inside of that race car?
Oh, everyone at John Force Racing. I mean, we're surrounded by such great people, such great sponsors. I told the boys last night, we had it done last night, and we did a toast, and I said, thanks for, welcoming me in. Like, they didn't have to be nice to me. They didn't have to believe in me, and they did all year long, and that gives you so much confidence to go after something like this. This is 19 years in the making. I started racing when I was 10 years old, and all I wanted to do was be a professional race car driver. I didn't care what it was, and win a world championship at it, and we finally got it done. I'm so proud to drive this Chevrolet with AAA Auto Club, Cornwell Tools, everyone that's a part of this. Thank you, Robert Height. Thank you, John Force. Thank you, fam. Everybody back at the shop for, just doing great work and giving us an opportunity to go out there and run low ETs and turn on win lights. So I've been having a blast this year. I'm sad tomorrow's the last day of the last race day of the year, but I hope we can go 4 more rounds and have something really big to celebrate at the end of the night.
In his very first season of Funny Car, Austin Prock is your 2024 Funny Car champion.
Earnest, passionate, and unquestionably talented, this guy ran roughshod over the category this year's Budweiser Championship profile for Austin Prock. In 19 starts, he has won 8 races. He has been a 3-time runner-up. The round record, Tony, is stunning, 50-11.
Well, they came out swinging, and they knew that they had assembled a good team. This car, the tuner, had been proven. And, of course, Robert Height did an outstanding job. However, Austin Prock was able to deal with all the pressures and really make that transition flawless, and he delivered when he had the most pressure.
He supplanted his legendary team owner with 15 #1 qualifiers this year, the most ever accrued by a team in a single season of NHRA drag racing in the funny car category. Ron Capps, man, he gave a game effort to prevent that number from swelling to 15. He showed up at qualifying session 3, and the Napa GR Supra laid down the quickest run of his career at 382.1.
It all starts with this Pomona surface, and you get cool air, the density, altitude that comes in. The tuners recognize that, and they know that the potential with these kind of performance are there on the table, and they work on setups moving forward. They understand what they have to compete with Austin Prock that has just wrapped up a championship, and they absolutely delivered in these conditions.
Let's go down to Ron Capps, who's with Jordan Vandergriff.
Ron Capps qualified with his quickest career run, a 382 yesterday. But Ron, that puts you at #2. How difficult will it be to get through this field today?
Well, being the last race, you get a lot of cars that aren't in the countdown and vying for the top 5. So now that it's clinched, we're just trying to get ahead of the game for next year. I mean, this has been what Guido's been working on, the 382. And it was really neat the last session to go up there with Beckman next to us, and we were both trying to throw down the first 370 here. So it's nice to have that performance. Our Napa Auto Care team's done a great job, but we just want to stand a little further to the left on the stage come Monday night at the awards banquet. And I think we got a great chance of doing it.
And now let's get a look at our Lucas Oil starting lineups for round 1 of Nitro Funny Car. Matt Hagan will take on Steve Densham, and this is Densham country here in Southern California. Austin Prock will take on Jason Rupert. Rupert, the decided underdog here, but would love to stop the seemingly unstoppable Prock. Then it's Ron Capps and Jeff Deal. Deal, who has been riding a wave of new sponsorship and hope for the future this season, will be taking on the Toyota GR Supra of Capps. Jack Beckman and Terry Haddock. Will it be Jack Beckman's last race in this car? No one really knows at this point. And for Terry Haddock, the journeyman funny car racer will be taking on Beckman. Blake Alexander and Alexis DeJoria. For Alexander, this string of runs in the 380s, the best running funny car he's ever driven. And for Alexis DeJoria, a car that has shown very strong promise. If she can finish one runs, it may be damaging to her opponent. Paul Lee and Chad Green. Paul Lee has been on a wave of success, making a final round in Las Vegas, and Chad Green made one of the best runs of his season to close out qualifying. Cruz Pedregon came out swinging, as did J.R. Todd, and then they slowly worked their way back to the middle of the pack. The 8 and 9 qualifiers will be the 8th pair out in the round 1 eliminator of Funny Car. Bob Taska III and Daniel Wilkerson will be the first pair of the day in funny car. George down there with the snarling funny cars with more on the Wilkerson family.
The Wilkerson family struggled to qualify. I asked him about it. He said, look, I tried two different things, and they both did the exact opposite of what I wanted them to do. I said, well, is there something new today? You're going to go back to one of those two things. He said, something in the middle.
That would be sounding about right. Bob Taska's going to try to stop him. Taska's car smokes the tires, and Dan Wilkerson goes 391 at 333.08 miles an hour. A tough end of the season for Bob Taska III.
Yeah, it is a shame. He had a nice little starting line lead. We'll get another look at this. Take a look at the throttle blades, and when those blades open, that is what moves the car. Air starts to pour into the engine, combined with the spark, combined with the fuel. They're the throttle blades opening for Taska. However, as the car accelerates, there's 60 feet. You can see that tire pattern behind the car. It's starting to shake the clutch application out of sync with how the engine's revving up, and it was all over at that stage for Taska.
Sean Langdon, relieved, excited, spoke to Amanda.
A gigantic round win for Sean Langdon. His first word was, cool. Justin Ashley is out. What was your reaction when you saw that?
Well, I mean, it's pick your poison. Justin Ashley and Antron Brown. I mean, they're both as good as it gets. So, regardless of the situation, you know, we know the task at hand. We know what the Colette Air team's got to do. You know, Brian and the boys have given me a great race car all year long. So, it doesn't matter who we run the next round. You know, Antron's as tough as it gets. Toyota teammates, so that's good. And we're going to have to give everything we got. We're going to have to run a little quicker. I'm going to have to step it up. It's going to be a total team effort, but we got that first round win. That little bit of a delay there, man. It's if you don't like them butterflies, that ain't for you.
Butterflies, bald eagles, or pterodactyls in your guts, that has to be what it feels like. This is what it stands right now. Ashley now leading Top Fuel only by 13 points. Langdon or Brown's going around him next round. There is no getting around that. We now go back into the world of Nitro Funny Car. Matt Hagan backing his way up to the starting line. The red, white, and blue direct connection colors as he makes his way back next to Steve Dencher. Bruno has 4.
Matt Hagan mentioned how, you know, this team right now is not finished the way they wanted to. He said, we just can't run with the Proc family. So that's why I'm so excited for Monday to come, because we are already going to go to work to try and make ourselves better. So right now the task at hand, though, is to finish the season strong. We've got a car that can run. We just can't run the numbers they're putting up, and that has been our Achilles heel all season long. We've been a couple hundreds off, but hopefully we got enough today to bring home a trophy, one last one in 2024.
Well, again, for Matt Hagan, like so many of the higher qualified cars, you cannot take your opponent lightly. Steven Dencher did not qualify that well. However, this car has been in the 3-second range. If they make all the right calls, they could give Matt Hagan more than he wants.
And Steven Dencher has historically given Matt Hagan some problems. There's been some late season races where Dencher has become a bit of kryptonite to Hagan in years past. We'll see what happens here. Round 1 funny car action at these finals. Halloween was a few weeks ago, but Steve Dencham saw a ghost. 387.4 at 329. Dencham goes red. When we come back, Nitro Funny Car, round 1 will continue, and Austin Prock will take on Jason Rupert. Prock, of course, the champion in such stunning fashion. He won Vegas, going to try to finish the season with the same type of flair here in Pomona, California. Don't go anywhere. Burger NHRA Finals. They have been slinging burgers all week. Along by the thousands, prize wheels, interactive displays, all kinds of neat stuff for the kids and the adults. It is a great environment here at In-N-Out Burger, Pomona Drag Strip. Austin Prock and Jason Rupert on the starting line. We peek at the ladder to see that Hagan and Wilkerson will match up in round number 2. It's still a long way to go here at Funny Car, Pro Stock, and Pro Stock Motorcycle as we continue through round number 1. The Shell Roofing Systems Mustang and Rupert, the biggest underdog in LA County. Rupert's going to make a pretty good run here. Rupert has no parachutes. Rupert finally gets a late parachute out. 391 for him, but a 382 for Austin Prock.
Well, that's how you do it if you're Jason Rupert. Don't give it away off the starting line. Don't red light for Austin Prock staying on the course.
And Tony, as we watched this car go down the track and looked at wind lights, we now look at the speed, 341.68 miles an hour, the fastest speed ever on a drag strip.
Well, there's a reaction from the team. The focus is the wind light, then the performance of the car, the 382, then they recognize the 341 miles per hour that makes history.
That is the all-time fastest speed in NHRA history. It is the fastest funny car in history, and Bruno is with Jimmy Prock.
Down here with Jimmy Prock. Jimmy, if this season couldn't get any better, a 341 up on the board, what does that mean for you, a guy who is known for putting up big runs?
Oh, you know, I didn't, we're just fortunate. I didn't expect that. I've seen it's in there, you know, but to get these things to do everything you want them to do all the time is very difficult, but great run, very happy.
Well, the team is just arriving, and there's been screams up here at the top end, and I asked Austin Brock, did he hear what happened? He said, I saw it. How?
I'm comfortable in this thing. I've been able to catch the scoreboard the last two runs. When we ran 80, I saw it, and right there I caught it as well. So just love Pomona. This is unreal, man. To run 380 last night and then go 341.68 to tie Tasca. This is one fast Chevrolet, and we're the first NHRA driver to do it.
Absolutely astonishing. A performance number that his father broke his own record. It was 339.87 in Sonoma in 2017. We've watched the 380 run yesterday, and now they put the massive speed to it. We have to go back to the starting line. There is no description for what this day has been. We're not even halfway through the first round yet. As we now go back to the starting line, it is Jeff Deal and Ron Capps, the Napa GR Supra. Deal's got the bottom half of your screen here, the Pep Boys drone. The Speed Tech Motorsports Toyota smokes the tires immediately. Ron Capps thunders down the racetrack, and Capps manages to stop the clocks at 3.842 and a measly 332 miles an hour.
Well, still has a performance range, only a couple of hundredths of a second slower, several mile an hour.
Not quite. Speaking of Austin Brock and JFR, Jack Beckman, I talked to him. It's the final race of the season. I talked to him this morning, and I said, well, Jack, you did a good job. Is your job over? He said, not yet. Goal is to finish in second place, and we're going to lock it up here, then my job will be done.
John Force's name is still on the side of the race car as John's
numbers pop up on the board, and while they know that they could get more, they will only call on that horsepower, on that thunder when they need it. Beckman, his team, they still have to race smart, assure themselves that second round spot.
As we watch this in slow motion one more time, a 398 at 306 was a nice run for Terry Haddock's car. It was clean, as you can see. It was squared up in the groove, but Beckman just ran off and hid down there at the top end. When we come back, we will continue with Nitro Funny Car. And to say that the only thing we haven't had show up yet is the Flying Monkeys, they may be right around the corner for all we know. We'll be right back. Sealmaster Track Walk this morning was amazing. The marching band, thousands of dedicated NHRA fans got here bright and early to stretch their legs and walk on the surface of the oldest continuously operating drag strip on the planet. Alexis DeJoria on the racetrack here, backing up the Bandero Cafe Tequila Toyota. Bruno's got more.
You know, Blake Alexander is the lower qualified car in this pair. We're talking about Del Worship this morning. Alexis might have the quicker car. Her incremental numbers from yesterday was an early shut-off run that would have put down a 386 or better. He feels they've got a tune-up that can go much deeper. He said he can't run with Brock, but he can run awful close.
So Blake Alexander, that Prado Auto Service Center Mustang, E3 Spark Plug side. A brutally fast first round will continue to be as Alexis smokes the tires and Blake. A 78 light, 378.6, 329 miles an hour in red, white, and blue.
Well, you have to push. You take on Blake Alexander. As good as this car has performed in the past, and it appears that Del Worship, the tuner for Alexis, was just pushing too hard and lost attraction.
Rapid fire action here in Pomona, California. Chad Green, the Bond Code Mustang, across the... Whoa, he just double bulbed Paul Lee. Chad Green's in both bulbs. Lee, the mainline sales Dodge, is going to move his operation ahead. Paulie smokes the tires. Chad Green, who won this race a year ago. It's been a while since he's seen an early win light. That's a good one for them, but a 3.99, it was hurt.
Georgia Vandergriff just told us what your task is here today. Another win for John Force Racing will secure you to be in second in the points. How will you title this experience on your resume?
You got my paper? I wouldn't call it redemption. I would say a bite at the apple part 2, dream come true squared or something like that. So I just ran the best speed of my career. Unofficially in testing, I've gone quick or fast than that. And I'm only 5 mile an hour off Austin Prox. Unbelievable. Our peak Camaro's good. Yesterday was not a good day for us, and that's unusual for us to miss it 2 days in a row. I think it pointed us in the right direction. I think that's the one that's going to help us get 3 more win lights today and carry that trophy home.
They will keep slashing at it as we can see the wet pipes here. The DHL GR Super across the racetrack. Cruz Pedregon, who has showed signs of revitalized performance out of the Oden. Snap-on Dodge in silver, red and black. The Pep Boys drone looks down upon the starting line. And Cruz's car gives up traction. Meanwhile, J.R. Todd's goes 385.8, 330 miles an hour. A very sporting run here, but only a single parachute as Todd tries to haul it down.
Well, he's on the brakes, and it almost appeared that this race would come down to whoever could match their qualifying effort. For Cruz Pedregon off the starting line, a slight advantage, nearly identical at 300 feet, but it was shortly after. That's where this car starts to break traction. That clutch application, just too aggressive at that stage.
Every single winner but one ran down in that, rather, but 2 ran down in that 380 bracket. Ridiculous performance round of Nitro Funny Car action. When we come back, it is Pro Stock time. It is the Aaron Stanfield Dallas Glenn battle, and we are literally just getting warmed up here in Pomona.
From a Chevy big block engine, 500 cubic inches, utilizes electronic fuel injection to produce the close to 1,400 horsepower. That engine is made from cast iron, features aluminum billet cylinder heads, a 2-chassis, 4-link rear suspension, must weigh in at 2,350 pounds. That will include the driver. Quarter-mile performance in close to 6.5 seconds with a very slippery aerodynamic design and minimal downforce.
Teddy Roosevelt coined the phrase, but Aaron Stanfield's living it, walking softly and carrying a big stick. He does all his talking with his black Camaro.
Yeah, and this is a championship race. They will look back, and this will have such a big impact. And he took down one of his biggest rivals in that final round in Greg Anderson.
Anderson, of course, kind of the third man in, if you will, with his brawl for a championship. For Aaron Stanfield, winning Las Vegas meant regaining the points lead, but man, that points lead is slender. Bruno Massel is with Aaron Stanfield.
Aaron Stanfield is just one race day away from being a world champion in the Pro Stock category. I know this has been something that's been a true passion for you, this category. Your dad raced in it, you won championships in other categories and factory stock, but what would it mean for you to actually bring home the World Championship in Pro Stock here today?
This is like the World Series for me. You know, growing up as a kid, watching my dad do it. So, yeah, I mean, it's been something I've dreamed of for a long time, and we're down to the last day here. It's probably going to take a race win to get it done, and that's the mindset we're going in today with. And thank you to JHG, Melling, Joe Janik. See if we can get it done today.
As much as we have talked about Aaron and Dallas, in the penumbra stands Greg Anderson, just 48 points behind Eric Enders, Jake Coffin, and the rest. They are in the way of these 3 men.
Well, it's been Greg Anderson that really has had the best power in this category. He has to sharpen up on the starting line. However, during qualifying, first session as well as this final qualifying session, it was Greg Anderson laying it down.
Not only did he repeat the exact same elapsed time twice, it was the quickest elapsed time anybody recorded, back-to-back.
Well, he gets the points. However, he gets the car that he wants, that he knows he is going to need coming into competition.
And the points and a half situation means for Greg Anderson, instead of a normal race where he'd be 3 rounds out of the running, he is only 2 rounds behind. And as you saw, that 29-point differential means that for Aaron Stanfield and Dallas Glenn, it is a 1-round race. And now let's get a look at our competition ladder here in the Pro Stock category. You can look and see your qualified pairs. Aaron Stanfield and Troy Coughlin Jr. going to be taking on the likes of Hartford Quadra. We can see Glenn and Reese. Now let's go through round 1 highlights. Corey Reed and Jerry Tucker. Rumor on the street is that Jerry Tucker is going mountain motor Pro Stock racing next year. Corey Reed in his debut season in Pro Stock Eliminator, has done very well and continues to, as he has retired Jerry Tucker. 655 beats a 656. 22 light for Corey Reed, trying to help his KB Titan team out.
It was a close race in terms of performance, but a nice starting line advantage for Corey Reed. Just extended that lead to the finish line.
Jake Coughlin Jr., multiple wins on the year. The Skag Power Equipment machine. Christian Quadra, always and ever the snappy lever. The Corral Boots Ford Mustang. And Tony, don't look now, but Jeggy's season just got stopped in its tracks.
Yeah, good performance on a hole shot. You don't see it that often, but these Quadras, they are quick off the line. And for Coughlin Jr., he just laid up a little too much in that first round.
So Christian will advance on to round number 2. Eric Latino facing the likes of 6-time world champion Erica Enders, who qualified 6th this weekend. He left on her by nearly 0.02 of a second, but it was a bit deceptive. He had the car very deeply staged, and it is going to be Erica Enders. 652 beats a 662.
It was about 7 inches of rollout, so you can cheat that beam a little bit so that it gives your time slip the illusion that you're quicker. He was second off the marker, rather on the throttle, so a good run for Erica.
Matt Hartford sometimes breaks out in hives when he sees one of the Quadra boys next to him. They have given him fits over the years. He wasn't going to let Fernando get away with it easy. The Total Seal onboard camera, a neck-and-neck Pro Stock sprint to the finish line favors Hartford.
He gave up about 100th of a second off of that starting line. However, he did have the horsepower to drive around him, as you can see by the 8th mile. Just started to pull around Quadra.
So Matt Hartford advancing on to round number 2. Camry Caruso came up. The True Brand Fuel Jewel Chevrolet Camaro. Dan Mark punching her off into the wind. Chris McGahey, the opposite side of the racetrack, had a 200ths advantage on the starting line, but that did not translate to victory. Camry a solid 652-2 at 210.
Well, Camry really been doing good, qualifying well, and seems to have a good level of consistency, not just on the racetrack, but in the seat.
Derek Reese and Dallas Glenn. Reese was the really first guy in line here that could be a huge disruptor in this championship run here this weekend in Pomona. Lining up next to Glenn, the Rad Torque Systems, Summit Racing Equipment, Chevrolet Camaro. And Derek Reese was not intimidated by the moment. He left within 0.04 of Glenn and lost by a little. 654.4 beats a 656.
Well, for Dallas Glenn, every one of these rounds is going to be crucial in his hunt for that championship. However, this is the pattern for this driver. Qualified very well, very consistent, but has fallen off 0.03 of a second. Well, it'll be interesting to see if his toughest rivals, Aaron Stanfield and Greg Anderson, do the same.
So Dallas Glenn moves on to round number 2. That plodding progress that needs to happen over the course of a race day in very defined sprints. Greg Anderson, the HendrickCars.com Camaro, Summit Racing Equipment on the deck lid. Fellow veteran Kenny Delco. Right-hand side, the Artisan Coffee Chevy Camaro. A 649.2.
Well, he got quicker. So for Dallas Glenn, that doesn't bode very well for him. However, I'm sure they'll tune that car up. But Greg Anderson, again, the quickest car in competition, the class of the field.
We know that Glenn is advanced. Aaron Stanfield has to do the same to keep pace. Troy Coughlin Jr., Jakes.com colors. Belling Performance, Johnson's Horsepower Garage. How locked in is Aaron Stanfield today? Stanfield is 10